Welcome back to another episode of Full Circle with me, Onyx. And, you know, let's just kind of go where we're going to go. So, obviously, in a roundabout way, there's a lot of transformation that happens in my videos. When you become more self aware, you automatically shift. You automatically become more authentic. You automatically start getting your life and yourself in alignment with who you are. You rediscover your values, and it starts putting you on the right path, your right path. So the last few weeks were pretty intense for me as I was battling it out with a water sign who was playing the victim and putting the responsibility of their life in my hands, putting all of their history in my hands, putting all of their baggage, all of their, repressed feelings on me. Like 5 minutes of that, and I wanted out. I was like, there is one sign of the zodiac uh, that is kind of known for being codependent, being known for being a crybaby. Those two clues should have given you an idea of which zodiac sign I'm talking about. Um, but the reality is, everyone does that. So it really doesn't fall under one sign. You know, we all have a positive expression of ourselves and a negative expression of ourselves. And don't let your history become you, is the bottom line. Quit letting your circumstances live your life. Why are you channeling your bullshit and putting that on everyone? So I guess that's really the gist of it. That's really the bottom line. That's the that's the total. Uh, and we don't realize we're so used to ignoring ourselves, ignoring our issues. We're so used to sweeping it under the rug and also disassociating with work, disassociating with friends, family, entertainment. Like, life gives you plenty of opportunities to disassociate your whole entire life and not question your beliefs, not check your own attitude, not be responsible, not hold yourself accountable for all of the crap that you put people through. So, this person in question, related, kind of related, non related, uh, in her mind, she thinks she's entitled to being able to do that to other family members, and that comes with the sweet deal called family, that comes with the sweet deal called love. No, it does not. You showing up as the worst version of you, caught in your garbage, channeling your bullshit, is not what we signed up for. So it became a very painful moment. I seriously was like, what am I thinking? Who am I? I questioned if I was ever going to branch out and do like full-time life coaching, if I was ever like that nasty experience brought to you by my own family member, uh, really made me stop and think maybe helping humanity is the wrong thing to do. Maybe life coaching, self help, like, is putting yourself on the front lines and asking to get shot. You know, it's not worth the sacrifice. Maybe this person deserves maybe I just need to go. Maybe I need to lock myself in my room more than I do, hide out, and do the happy dance on my own, you know? And this isn't the first time that this individual has done it. Like 8 years ago, she was like, I'm on board with what you're doing. I want to learn what you know. And I went, you want to learn what I know that I went and took the courses in that I paid for? Sure, but you could go to the program that I went to. But anyways, she's related. So I was like, sure. 5 minutes into having a discussion, she has all this baggage to unload. She feels triggered. And it became a very unpleasant experience pretty fast. So, if you are into astrology, water signs have a tendency to be some of the most toxic signs of the whole zodiac, okay? And we're talking about unprocessed material. Is it their fault? No. Yes. No. Yes. No. Okay. I'm pretty much a water sign, okay? I'm talking about my own signs. So, no hate, but I'm just telling you. Using astrology as part of my vocabulary is a way to frame things. It's not exactly so. I mean, all of the signs. I've come to the conclusion actually all the signs in their toxicity are hella toxic and you just want to run. They are not worth dating. They are not worth even associating with, okay? So, and this really just basically says all humans, when they're living in their dysfunction, when they're channeling their bullshit story, are toxic. And so, if you're toxic, you're never going to have a good relationship. If you're toxic, you're not seeing yourself clearly, you're not seeing the world clearly, and you're probably not processing information clearly. I would say we live in a toxic culture and a toxic global village. So toxicity is, right up there with what we need to do in order to save humanity, or at least yourself. The idea of detoxing. How do you detox? First you have to recognize, you know what? If I feel triggered, every time I feel squeezed, garbage comes out of me. Every time I feel uncomfortable, if I'm loaded with anxiety and fear, if I'm an avoidant, if I'm a people pleaser, if I stay up late at night worrying about what other people think, if I hold a grudge, if I get offended easily, I probably have something to leave behind. I have some stuff to unload. I need to go flush some stuff. And so it doesn't take medicine plants, it doesn't take religious rituals, magical processes. It just takes spending a little time with yourself, doing a little check-in, journaling. Journaling is probably the best thing you could ever do for your whole entire life, honestly. A little check-in, and then notice, go, oh man, I feel so uncomfortable. Why? Investigate, do a little self-investigation, and you're gonna find so many answers, and you're gonna find what needs to go. Once you realize something, the work is halfway done. You're like, oh, so I'll use an example from my life. I was beat a lot as a child by an abusive father figure who couldn't control his temper. And, and so so why do I feel avoidant? Why do I hesitate having people close by? Why in a relationship would I prefer that person to be a couple feet away from me? Maybe inner child has some trauma. So I don't need to beat myself up over it, as an example. I don't need to shame myself. But knowing that, it's halfway solved. The whole G.I. Joe saying, and knowing is half the battle. It's absolutely true. Once you know what your story is, once you know what your condition is, what your prognosis is, what your, once you know, it's halfway done, or more than halfway done. Now you just take forward action. You take actionable forward moving steps. You be like, okay, I have to now. So forget the problem. Forget the person who abused you. They're not that special. No one should be that special in your life. Especially the abuser should never have so much center stage in your life. Now we shift that back to you. What do I need to do? Well, there's a new opportunity. Next time you're in a relationship, invite people to be closer than 2 feet away. Practice eye contact. So there's always something new for you to learn. There's always something for you, new practices, new experiences. And so move forward with your life. So let's talk about toxicity, okay? How does this toxicity happen? I just was holding on to this childhood wound or this storyline. Well, the longer you hold on to it, it kind of rots in you. The longer you hold on to a grudge, I'm going to not forgive this person and it's going to make me feel powerful. Okay, well, you're holding on, not them. Oh, it happened 20 years ago? No wonder why your root chakra is like blown out. No wonder why you have to go to the doctors. No wonder why you have Crohn's disease. You're creating energy blocks and they're manifesting where they're lodged in your body. And your body is a filing cabinet. It's an energetic holographic filing cabinet. It goes exactly where it needs to go. If you have issues with relationships, it's going in the lower 2 chakras. If you have issues with yourself, it's going in your stomach. If you're not listening to your truth, it's going into your heart, your throat, your third eye. You're getting migraines. If you're going the wrong direction in life, you're getting migraines. Okay? You're putting up with environments that don't support you. You're refusing to hear. You're refusing to see. You're refusing to listen. Taking that information, and you're refusing. You're stubborn. You have a block. You have beliefs that don't support your forward growth and movement. You have beliefs that are staying safe is better than taking risks, expanding yourself, having new adventures, having a breath of fresh air, visiting a new country, quitting your job. So everything in this world is just symbolic, okay? It's all symbolic. Your partner is a symbol of you getting in, wanting to connect and relate and get to know another part of yourself. That's what it is. Everything from the car, from the color of the car, from the make and the model, everything is symbolic. There are metaphors. And, and it's of the content that you accept and how you weave it together. So you are a holographic program, basically. There's a you behind all that, which makes it work, called consciousness. When you meditate for a little bit and you become the witness, you become aware, you're the observer, that gets you out of the matrix. That gets you out of your personality, out of your ego, out of your avatar. See how layered it is? Out of the programming, out of your biology. You're literally a different mind. So practice mindfulness, practice being present, practicing being here and now. So the daily practice of being mindful, present, living in the now sets you up for better meditation practices of, centering, dialing in, being mindful, watchful. I'm not my thoughts. I'm not my feelings. I'm not my body. I'm not my story and the experiences and circumstances I find myself in. Yeah, they happened, and yes, I can learn something from it, but the reality is all this is just kind of happening. I don't need to own it, which was the hook that once you've owned it, well, now it is you. Own your history, now it's you. Own your problems, now it's you. I'm not saying spiritually bypass, ignore it, which turns into toxicity like we talked about. It's letting it flow. Not owning it means, dude, that happened 30 years ago. Why do you keep telling that story about your dad? Dude, that happened 30 years ago. Why don't you just change your behavior? Why don't you make a new choice? Why don't you redefine yourself? And so a lot of us are looking backwards, thinking we're living a fresh new day. A lot of us are looking backwards, thinking we're looking forward. And we're still looking backwards. We're still stuck in the past. We're still in our bull crap. And so we need to have those hard talks with ourselves. You need a reminder. It's like lucid dreaming. How do you lucid dream? Well, you go about your day and you question, am I awake? Is this real? And then you do a reality test. You grab an object and you drop it. If it floats, you're in a dream. If it defies the laws of predictable physics, you're in a dream. If it doesn't and it falls, you now know you're awake. So reality checks is what we do by being present, by dropping our story. Reality checks. If you have a real friend and a real partner, they're not there to support your bullshit. They are there to support you coming back to reality. Hey, honey, now that you're done with that narcissistic self-pity talk, you're blaming your boss for everything, you not liking dinner, and you not being appreciative and grateful, and you not finding the joy and the magic of this moment. Are you done yet? Okay, you're done? Okay. Well, welcome back to reality. Do you want more potatoes? Here you go. Let's get back to getting good. When's the last time you laughed? When's the last time you went outside and enjoyed the weather? When's the last time you really cared about other people besides your problems? So our problems, our story, our history, they kind of consume you from the inside out. And your brain thinks, well, this isn't a good thing. Let me focus on it, solve the problem. 3 hours later, you're still focused on it, trying to solve the problem. You can't. Why? It doesn't exist anymore. Holy crap. You mean my issue with my parents 30 years ago literally doesn't exist anymore? No. It only exists in your mind as ideas that you made beliefs out of, and assumptions and labels, and now there's a story running, and there's an identity a false identity that's also made up of this thing called an idea. So you made a holographic imprint inside in what we call mind. That is what it is. But guess what? It's made up of nothing. So to solve the answer, how do we solve the mathematical equation for finding nothing? The answer is nothing. So you just did 3 hours of meaningful, wasted mental work. You know, when the teacher just gives you busy work to do to teach you something, but really they're up front reading a book. Yeah, you just did busy work. You wasted your time. You wasted your life. You mean, yeah, busy work. You gave your mind something to munch on, and now you're tired and exhausted. And so what you lost? What did it cost you by trying to solve it all yourself? What did it cost you by carrying the story? You lost friends, families, loved ones. You missed the moment. That whole time, you could have actually been working forward, creating the better version of yourself, talking positive, throwing away all the toxic reminders of your ex, throwing away all the memories and informations of that last job. So you don't remember your past life, there's a reason for that. It's not relevant. It doesn't exist. It existed only in those moments. What you needed, you carried forward. And what baggage you chose to identify with and own, you also carried forward energetically, called energy. But you couldn't release, so give yourself permission to let go. Stop validating your story. Stop validating your beliefs. What is a belief? Okay, my mind was blown. It's an idea that you choose. That's all it is. And you repeatedly choose it. So what is a conviction? Or it's a belief you strongly choose over and over and over again. If you're in a religious cult, they call that faith. Blindly choosing a belief over and over and over and over again. And it doesn't even mean it's true. Mind blown. How many beliefs, how many ideas, how many judgments do you have in your head that really have no basis in reality? Probably a majority of them. So, the willingness to be wrong about your story, wrong about how you framed people in your life and used them to be characters in your story of you, the story of your trauma, because you're trying to create credibility. If I'm wrong, so this was what makes releasing really easy, okay? When you realize you're wrong, when you realize it's all dead information, when you realize that knowledge, that truth belonged to that old version of you and their mind and their truth in that generation, in that time period called yesterday, it's no longer relevant right now. There's always new updated versions happening. So it's just like science has evolved, you know? Math evolves, science evolves, technology evolves, humanity evolves. When you're keeping outdated content, an old version, you're not evolving, you're creating toxicity. And then it's like you can't catch up to the reality of now, the present moment. You can't be flexible, you're not open-minded, there's no energy, and now it feels like your neurology is working against you. You're tired, you feel heavy. You go to the doctor, they scan you and they say you have chemical imbalances and certain neurotransmitters aren't active and receptive, and we're going to give you these pills. I'm like, yeah, because you won't let go of your story. and you tied your whole identity into your story, and then you roped people into it. Well, I went to a doctor and they told me this is what I had. And I've been thinking that for the last 10 years because this is a story I've been carrying. So now I got it proved. So now this is a part of me and I'm just going to deal with it. I'm like, yeah, but guess what? That was a few moments ago. And maybe you didn't have this information. I'm telling you, you can clear your history. You can change your beliefs. And maybe, let's say you can't stop telling stories and you can't stop believing in stuff. Well, why don't you now rework it and start telling yourself a positive story where you're the hero? Why can't you choose beliefs that are supporting of you? Like, despite all the strange, weird abuse that I've gone through collectively and individually through my life, I don't know why I still like myself. I have no logical reason, no explanation to understand why I like myself. I just do. It's weird. I can have moments of not liking myself, but then always there's something uncomfortable because liking myself is also in the room. It's a strange fact about me. That's part of my story. Now it's part of my identity. I think that's going to serve me well instead of I'm broken. Instead of all the doctors tell me this is incurable, instead of buying into more self-help and buying into more belief systems and groups that are telling a different story of the version of me, of myself that I would like to live. So, it's really interesting. The reason why people don't heal, the reason why people have all their toxic baggage is because in their mind, they have it twisted, thinking they're gonna get something good out of it. Somehow this story validates. Somehow this story gives me attention. Somehow this story proves me right. Somehow this story proves others wrong. I'm proving everyone wrong that I can't be cured. I'm proving everyone wrong. This is how I am. Isn't that cool? So a lot of us are carrying baggage. I'd say 90% of us are carrying baggage thinking it's going to serve us, but it never does. A lot of us use our baggage to justify slinging our baggage and hurting other people. You should be tolerant. You should understand how I feel. And so now I'm in the right to hurt you. Well, you know what? If you didn't have that baggage, you wouldn't even be thinking like that. And you would just move on. So we give our power away to our problems. We pedestalize them. We give our power away to other people in our lives. We make them the main character of our show. We give our power away. I think it's time to give it back to ourselves. If we had the power to give it, flip it. Wait a minute. That means it's my choice. That means it's my will. That means I actually had the power all along. I now take my power back. People are not so important. My problems are not so important. The fate of the world isn't so important. That person cutting me off on the freeway is not so important. Maybe because they're not so important, they had to do that. I'm the important one. This is my life. Why am I here? Probably to enjoy it. Shit happens. Circumstance happens. There's a lot of mistakes. There's a lot of garbage that goes on. Doesn't mean it should stop me from being happy, for no reason at all. Throw your brain away. Is kind of what I'm saying. Stop thinking so much. You're hurting yourself. You can be happy right now. You can feel joy right now. I'll know you're better when you're happy for no reason at all. I know you're better when you feel blessed for no reason at all. You know? I know you're doing well when you stop making everyone else the reason. Okay?